It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, welcome in. TGIF, it's Friday. We made it. And it's great to have you along here on the Patrick Johnson Show this afternoon. All right, let's jump right in. We got Pirate Baseball coming up against Charlotte. They'll play the first game at Truist Park tonight, and then the series will shift over to the campus facility for Charlotte. Big matchup here. Pirates have dominated the series, but tonight has a little different feel. Pirates will send the lefty Ethan Norby coming off certainly one of his most lackluster performances, and he'll be opposed by Blake Gillespie. About a month ago, the guys were the co-pitchers of the week in the American. So we'll see how all this plays out tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 94.3 The Game and on the IBX Media app. Philip Pilkington is going to be in Charlotte this weekend for the event. Pilk, to me, this feels like a series that could really go either way. I don't want to say that this is a must-win, but I think it's a must-win for East Carolina. They need a series win at the very least this weekend.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with timing, right? This is the fourth conference series played in what is a 9-week season if you look at conference play. And if you want to portray yourself into the second half where this schedule does get a lot tougher, you're going to have to go out there and beat a good baseball team, at least 2 out of 3. This is a good baseball team. You took care of business the first 6 games. You beat 2 teams that you should have beat. Great job. You can't win the tough ones if you don't win the easy ones. Now, you ran into the tough ones in FAU. You got beat. Now this is the time to turn it around because, look, it's not going to get any easier from here. You're playing a really good Charlotte team that, quite frankly, there's a lot of issues over there because no one rushed to Charlotte in 1849. I don't know why they're the 49ers. I understand why San Francisco is because everyone went out there for the gold rush. No one migrated to Charlotte in 1849.
Aren't
they're
they
all
on Highway
confused.
49?
Yeah.
Are they on Highway 40? That's what it is. That's why they're the 49ers.
Oh, that's stupid.
Well, look, the great joke was back in the day, LCC, Lenore Community College, they were going to call themselves the 58ers because they're on Highway 58
Oh, my
in Lenore
goodness.
County.
So
That's
this
a
team,
joke.
this team
It's a
is
joke.
going after naming themselves after a road, which I can't complain. My high school was named after a stupid road instead of naming it after
Whoa,
the
what
town.
was your high school? Well, that's the name of the high school, isn't it, though?
Well, the road was there
Not
first.
the mascot.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but not the mascot.
Yeah, but they should have named it
Yeah.
after the town.
What was
but
the
anyways,
mascot? What was the high school you went to? The high school and mascot?
we were the Raging Bulls, Hickory Ridge Raging Bulls.
Hickory Ridge Raging Bulls.
Shout out Ethan Young. So,
It's a lot of
but
words.
hey,
It's a
Ethan
lot
Young,
of
it's
words.
a lot of words, yeah. But hey, speaking of Ethan Young, he should have a lot of friends and family in attendance going back to his hometown. He's been our best bullpen arm all year. But no, yeah, going back to the seriousness of this, look, you're right. It's not a must-win, but it is a must-win because you got to prove to yourself you can beat good baseball teams. And I think that's what this team is lacking right now is the confidence and the fact that they can do it. The talent is there, both at the plate, in the field, and on the mound. And if you don't portray yourself forward right here, you could be in a bit of a slippery slope because this conference is a lot tougher than it's been in the past. I know that UTSA is still a few weeks away. South Florida's at the end of this thing. But if you want to beat teams like that, you're going to have to go out there and beat a team like Charlotte.
Pirates coming off a series in which they were swept by FAU and then defeated by NC State 4-1. On Tuesday, the Niners are 19-14, but 6-3 in the American, tied with the Pirates with a 6-3 conference mark. And ECU's got 20 wins on the year. Again, coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, 5:45 will be the airtime for Pirate Baseball. All right. Also, we'll have our reporters out for the final day of practice this work week for ECU football, spring ball. And we'll around 6:30 or so, you'll start to see perhaps some of that news develop out of that today. So keep an eye on that as we we bring that to you here, and of course we'll have post game from Charlotte as well. So there'll be a lot happening here. Was texting with Shane Winkler today, the ECU softball coach. The Pirates stayed in Raleigh after their loss to North Carolina on Wednesday in Chapel Hill, and then got on the plane and went out to Wichita yesterday. So they'll be playing at 7 Eastern tonight. That'll be on ESPN Plus. Want to give a shout out too to our guy Mike Mullis. Mully will be on the ACC Network tomorrow. ACC Network Extra on the ESPN app. ACC Network Extra at 3:00 for Louisville at NC State. So looking forward to that. I've joked with Mully. You make it in broadcasting when you get called to another broadcast. So he's now 100% a broadcaster. All right.
Let's just hope
guys,
he doesn't tick off the people from the Bluegrass State and he says the name of the team the way you did the second time after you rightfully corrected yourself. Don't call him Louisville now. It's Louisville. 2 syllables. Louisville.
Right. I would call them Louisville just to agitate them. If that's probably why they haven't called me to do any of the games yet.
Yeah,
So
I have respect for it. That's one of
those
where the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we equally hate Kentucky together, me and Louisville fans.
Right.
So I have respect for Louisville fans because I hate Kentucky.
I understand. You didn't deal with them in a post-game call-in show back when they played football here in the early 2000s, or you would not like Louisville fans, I can tell you that. All right, one of the great guys in the local sports scene is Paul Cornwell, and he has been promoted up to the athletic director in this county, Pitt County athletic director. So we're looking forward to our conversation with Paul Cornwell, former Aiden Grifton football coach. That is coming back on the other side of this timeout. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on this Get You to the Weekend Friday, Bazooka Friday. All the sales weasels have blown out of the place. Nobody here after noontime on a Friday this time of year. All right, we'll be back.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Pilk sent out an email last night, or a text, one of the two. Pilk, where was in our Masters draft where you're leading? That's all I know. Like by a lot.
Yeah. I had 2 guys go 4 under. That helped me big time.
So what is it an aggregate thing, or is it day by day? How are we doing that part?
So you get your best 4 players from each day score, and then whoever's got the best score at the end of the day. So pretty much you get 16 rounds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. That's all I needed to know. Okay. Yeah. So there's still a chance, is what you're telling me. There's still
very much a chance for you, who's 9 strokes back.
Whew. It's bad. All right. Let's say hello to Paul Cornwell. We know Coach Cornwell for many years. From his time at Aiden Grifton, where he was the coach, AD, has been a teacher, also in administration in Farmville, was at North Pitt. Now he is the new athletic director for Pitt County Schools. And Coach Paul Cornwell joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Long time coming. I'm sorry we didn't get to you last week. Of course, I understand that you were pretty much up to your eyeballs and alligators last week in a good way with the adjustment and all that. So. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been busy, but it's been very good. So far so good.
I have to imagine with your last couple of predecessors, you're left in pretty good hands with Rob Maloney and oh God, who's our guy? Ron Butler. So I mean, a couple of really good guys to follow in that job, because I know how conscientious and thorough and detailed both of those guys are. So from that standpoint, there aren't any, messes per se to clean up, I have to imagine. But what was the first order or two of business once you have kind of got your sea legs?
Well, fortunately, going through realignment, we didn't have a lot of issues. Our schools were pretty satisfied with, with their situation as far as conferences go. So that was probably one of the first things that I wanted to make sure that we were good with. And then really the other part of the job is PE curriculum. So getting out and trying to meet PE teachers and coaches throughout the county has been part of my goal for this spring. So I've been out some in some of the schools, but Really just trying to, get my footing, um, answer a lot of voicemails and emails that were left. But yeah, but really, it's about finding who to talk to when I need something, where to go with things, and making sure I'm following all the policies.
How does coaching as recently as this past fall help you in this role?
Well, it helps me in that I have a good relationship with a lot of the coaches and athletic directors in the county. I've had boots on the ground fairly recently, so I think that helps as far as understanding their needs and ways that I can help them. I mean, ultimately, this role is a support role. I'm trying to support the athletic directors and administrative staffs when it comes to athletics and our coaches and student athletes in the county. So I think having been in that role recently certainly benefits me.
Paul Cornwell with us here, the new Pitt County Director of Athletics. The good news too is the old job at Aiden Grifton. It looked like there was a really good situation with the succession plan and Garrett Wingate becoming coach. So that's you got to feel good about kind of the hands that program has been left in.
Yeah, Aiden Grifton has got a lot of good people. Obviously, I'm biased. It's been home for me for many years, and but with Corey Skinner as athletic director and Garrett being on staff, and we had other coaches who I felt like all of them could have done a good job with it. I really tried to stay out of it. I'm very close to everybody. Everybody on that staff either played for me or coached with me previously. So I really tried to stay out of it and let the administration kind of handle it. And I thought they made a great choice. Garrett will do a phenomenal job. He's such a hard worker. He's very bright. Got a lot of great ideas. Been a huge part, as with all of our coaches over the last 2 years, with the turnaround we had.
I have to imagine that a lot of this job in that support role, as you say, will be accentuating the positives and building on successes, but then also being able to take on issues head on. And I don't want issues to come across in a negative connotation. An issue that in some ways is pretty positive is growth. There's an explosive amount of growth in parts of Pitt County. Certainly that affects D.H. Conley. It affects Aiden Grifton in a lot of ways. I have to imagine it kind of affects most every school. So how do you contend with that part of it, specifically speaking to Aiden? Because, I mean, we've just seen a huge explosion of homes being built in that community over in the just the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden is definitely one of the fastest growing areas in the county. And all of our schools are growing. Pitt County is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. So it's not just one; it's all. And it's a great place to live, and more and more industry and businesses are finding their way here, and so we're seeing great growth throughout the county. So it's a positive in that you want to grow, and I think we certainly. I think we have to plan ahead, try to be more proactive to help with, finding those needs as early as possible to see where we can help our schools. But we have a great group of athletic directors in our county. They know the pulse of their school. They know the pulse of their community, and nobody knows it better than they do. And so my job is to try to help them understand, with more of a state or local, things, and then help support them in the roles that they're working within their schools and their communities. But yeah, it's certainly the growth throughout. D.H. Conley, is huge, and there has obviously have been talk about building a new school. I don't know where that is. I don't think that's anywhere in the near future, but that's a possibility. But I do believe we may have to build a new school somewhere in the county in the near future.
Yeah, one way or the other, there's going to have to be a new school, undoubtedly. So with realignment, you mentioned that was pretty, for the most part, seamless. For Conley and South Central and Rose, they add White Oak out of Jacksonville, Swansboro Havelock leaves that conference. So, I mean, it's kind of the same. It's that Pitt County, Onslow, with New Bern mixed in there as well, I believe, in what that will look like. How about the others in the county, the other publics in the county with the high schools I'm speaking about here with your old stomping grounds, AG, Farmville, and North Pitt? Will they still be aligned together, or are they going different ways?
They're kind of going different ways. North Pitt moved up in classification to 4A. So, and Aiden Griffin and Farmville Central will stay 3A within the new realignment. And Aiden Griffin, Farmville, Green Central, Beddingfield, Kinston, um, Tarboro will all be in the same conference next year in a 2A, 3A split.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
North Pitt will be in a conference. They'll still be in a league with West Craven, Washington, and Southwest Edgecombe from their previous conference. And I think they're adding North Johnston and maybe Nash Central. I'm not sure right off the top of my head, but I know that those four schools are all staying together. But I'm sure everybody will still play each other, even if it's non-conference.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something I know we've always tried to do to make sure we still play each other. And when one time at Aiden Griffin, we were not in a conference with Farmville or North Pitt, which a lot of people didn't like. But from an athletic director standpoint, it pretty much locked in two non-conference opponents for every sport. So scheduling, the conference people have to play you,
Right.
but that really helped with a non-conference. So, but anyway, we'll still continue to play, I'm sure, each other and continue to build those relationships within the county.
Yeah, I got a question for you here, Mr. Cornwell. You mentioned the split conferences. This is a thing that's happened for a while, but I do remember specifically in the fall of 2017, they had a rule where if you won your division of the split conference, especially in like football, you still got to bye. There was a team in the western half of the state that only had two 4A teams in their entire conference. One team went 0-11, one team went 1-10. The 1-10 team ended up like the number 4 seed. Are they? I know that since then they've changed that. Are they still going to go back to the craziness, or are they going to kind of understand, hey, we've got a lot of split conferences here. Yeah, we got to respect the 2A teams maybe in a 2A, 3A conference, but not reward teams for being absolutely horrendous and just beating a team or two?
Well, I don't think they have all that figured out yet. I know that we have a playoff format for all the new realignment, but I don't know that they have not come up with a policy or plan yet on how you're going to make the playoffs. So if they're split, for example, the conference I just talked about with Tarboro moving into the conference with Aiden Griffin and Farmville, they will be the only 2A team in that conference. So how they figure out their place in the 2A playoffs, I don't know that anybody really knows yet. So there's still some things that are being sorted out. This realignment model is so different from what we have done. I know there's still a lot of things that have to be figured out. And other states have done things like this for years. But I personally am excited about the new realignment model. I think it's going to give more schools an opportunity to be competitive at a state level. But I know there are people that are not, super fired up about it either. But I think you try to figure out what's the best way. This is what the schools voted for, and I think once we sort through the kinks, it's going to be a good situation.
We got Paul Cornwell with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show to sort of seize on what was just discussed there. Is 8 too many classifications? I mean, should it be more, maybe like 6? Is 8 just a little too many?
I don't know that there's a perfect number. I was not opposed to 8. I do think that having the 32 biggest schools together is a good thing, and then that allows your other school. I think one thing is that the complaints are always going to be, if you're one of the smaller schools in any classification, you're not going to be happy. I mean, it's what it's going to
Right.
be.
Yeah.
And we did that
Yeah.
at Aiden Grifton. One time when we were 1A, we were one of the biggest 1As, and then we went 2A, and we were the smallest 2A for 8 years. So, and it does make a difference when you're playing against bigger schools. I think if you're closing the gap um, with more classifications, like in the 4 classifications, you may have a 2A school with 550 kids and a 2A school with over 1,000 kids, and that's a huge difference in competitiveness when you have that many more students to choose from. And now you're looking at a breakdown where there may be only 100 to 150 students difference from your smallest to your bigger school. So it certainly makes the playing field more level. I think in the big picture, travel is the thing that you kind of you're going to have to deal with. I think that's the trade-off. You're not going to be able to play schools next door if you're trying to play everybody the same size. So there's some trade-offs with that, but I do think that in the long term, I don't know that there's a perfect number, but I kind of like where it is. I think most of the classifications are going to be pretty competitive.
I think 4 is too few. I think everybody agrees on
Mhm.
that. Paul Cornwell with us here. He is the new Pitt County Director of Athletics. Let me ask you about something that I'm sure in one way or the other you're having to deal with um, conceptually. Maybe not a specific example. At least there's not one that I know of. But that's the association and its decision to allow NIL make that permissible for high school athletes. What is the groundwork that has been done on that? What is the groundwork you're having to kind of take the reins to and continue to lay it out? So when that does, if that ever does come up, I guess, it's all above board.
Yeah, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and DPI have a policy that they have put out for NIL, and it's public information. There's a process. There are forms that are to be filled out. There's courses on the NFHS website that you have to complete, and essentially what it comes down to is if somebody signs some type of NIL uh, package, they can't do anything that involves the school, the team that they play for at the school, or any of the campuses, any public school campuses. So essentially, that agreement is between the student athlete and the entity in which they are signing with. So
Right.
as long as they are following the policy of the school system in the state, then really it doesn't have a lot to do with us. But you have to make sure that your coaches and your athletic directors and your administrative people understand um, the policies and the rules, and we're actually working on that now. So we're looking into ways to make sure that we follow those policies at the state level, and we ensure that if we have student athletes in our county that are going to have those opportunities, that we protect them and protect our schools and campuses and our coaches through that process. So it's coming. It's not one of those things that you can just kind of put your head down and hope that it doesn't, but it is. And so we're going
Yeah.
to we're going to work through it. And if we have players that that have opportunities, we certainly want them to. We don't want anybody in our area to not have those opportunities. So those are some things we are working on currently, and that we will get that information to with our administrators and our athletic directors and coaches, so that if it does come up, they're going to have the answers readily available, and make sure that our student athletes and our parents know exactly what their options are.
I don't know how much this falls under your purview. To a degree, it may, but you were very active in the Girls Flag Football League that involved
Mhm.
Pitt County, Beaufort County, and Craven County School. And it was a huge success. and it really
Yes.
kind of fit well where it fell on the calendar. There's all indications that this is eventually going to become a sanctioned sport. It was interesting. I remember you and I had a conversation about it. You said, in a way, you'd like it to stay as it is because the way it times out is you can get the season in, even though it is involved on the weekends, and that's a good thing. It doesn't conflict with any other sports really. It fell into time in the calendar, sort of between seasons for girls sports, in the fall and the winter. So, what will be your involvement in that, and if anything, and then what are you looking for out of that in year two? I guess I don't want to say unsanctioned because it makes it sound like it's some kind of outlaw thing, but as something
Mhm.
that's kind of an upstart league in a sense.
Well, we had a great time coaching the girls this fall. We had a great group, and they competed, and I told people we did the same thing with them that we did with the boys. So they learned a lot of the same concepts. But I don't think we're looking at it becoming sanctioned by the High School Athletic Association for this coming year. I
Mm-hmm.
do believe that now that the National Federation has a set of rules nationally, which was really the holdup of this moving forward. Now that they've established rules nationally, it is a matter of time.
Yeah.
I think it will be here before. I think there are other sports that also are a matter of time. I think beach volleyball is something right around the corner. Potentially, boys volleyball is also something that I've heard mentioned. Um,
Yeah.
but there, with the flag football, I think at this point we are looking at a very similar schedule next year. In fact, we have a conference call scheduled for next week with Pitt County, Beaufort, Craven, and maybe some other counties who are interested in joining the
Oh wow.
league that we have, and um, and running a similar schedule next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the Carolina Panthers have been very gracious with assisting with this throughout the state. So there's a lot of options and opportunities for that, and we have girls that played for us this fall who are playing on travel girls flag teams this
Oh
spring,
wow. That's cool.
being very competitive. We have girls that are being recruited to play college flag football. Mount Olive, Barton, some of the schools in the area are adding girls flag football as a sport starting next year. So it's growing. Exciting. There are scholarships. The NFL sponsors scholarships for girls to be able to go and play or to go to school. Girls that played high school flag football can qualify for scholarships. So it's coming. I mean, and we had a great fall. I really think that everybody enjoyed it. And the girls just came out of the woodwork. Really, they are excited about the opportunity, and I think we had a lot of coaches who were. And I think the fit of football coaches, it was kind of about half and half who did it. So some of the like our
Yeah.
staff, worked with it, but not all of them did. Um, but I think that time frame when you mentioned is good because it's at the end of volleyball. Travel volleyball has just kind of started practice. Basketball has started, but you're in early part of the season where there might be a little bit of flexibility, not as many games. You're not, so we worked our practice schedule around basketball. And
Yeah.
so, because we had some girl basketball players that did play. But I like the way it's set up. If it goes to a season like in the fall or the spring, you are going to eliminate probably some girls from being able to play. But that's part of it. Part of this, the drive for this is to give girls who don't play other sports an opportunity to play something. So
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily built to grab all the volleyball girls or softball girls, but to give other girls. In fact, the young lady that at Aiden Griffin that's playing travel flag football this spring didn't play any other sports. So,
Oh wow.
but it's a very good athlete and really good player. And I don't know why she wasn't playing anything else, but when she came out for flag, I was like, "What else do you play?" And she's like, "Nothing." And I'm like, "Well, you found a home." So she's a very good player.
You can
Yeah.
say this now that you're not coaching. My dad said he preferred coaching female athletes to males, and so because they listen. So I'm
Mhm.
sure that's what you ran into a lot too this past fall.
Well, I think the big thing is I think some people assume that girls aren't going to be physical, and they may not be as competitive. But I can tell you that it could not be further from the truth. They were
Yeah.
just as competitive as the boys, and as we got more comfortable with the game, they got more physical. And not because we were coaching it to be physical; it is flag, but they were physical. They weren't afraid for there to be contact, and they weren't afraid to get knocked on the ground. And so they were extremely competitive and a lot of fun to coach.
Yeah. All right. Now that you're done with coaching, who? Give me some of your favorite guys you coached. Who stands
Oh
out?
my gosh! Over the years,
Yeah, over the years, you can pick favorites now that you're retired from coaching.
oh
So,
gosh, I have so many, so many I've worked with over the years. It's really hard to narrow it down. I'll tell you one of my favorite players, who was just a kid who could do anything in any sport. I coached Demetrius Heath at North Pitt
mhm.
Meatball, and
Yeah,
for somebody who there wasn't anything he could not do. Uh, he was a great player in football, basketball, and baseball. Wound up playing professional baseball,
yeah,
but just a great player. And I've had several players at Aiden Griffin over the years who were just really good football players, great leaders. It's hard to pare it down because of just such a huge group of players. But very fortunate to coach. Not only have coached so many really good players, but coached with so many really good coaches. Um, you know, it hiring good people to help you run your program is probably 75% of the battle sometimes. And it's not all about what they know from a football standpoint. It's what they know about being a good person, and the rest of it you can figure out. But I've been fortunate to have some really great people coach with me, and I always try to find people that I'd want my girls to be around,
yeah.
and it's but I have been fortunate, and but yeah, a lot of great kids, a lot of great players throughout the years.
Congratulations on this new assignment for you, and we look forward to working with you on this. If there's anything we can ever do, let us know, and good luck to you, Paul.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you having me.
The great Paul Cornwell. He is now the director of athletics in Pitt County. All right, I'm out of here. Pilk will come back on the other side, give you an update, then we'll send you out to Charlotte for ECU baseball. Have a great weekend, everybody.